Welcome to Digital Hospitality. I am your host, Shawn Walchef, founder of Cali BBQ and Cali BBQ Media. We started this show back in 2017 and we started it with a mission. And the mission was to find the best storytellers on earth, the best technology professionals on earth, the best entrepreneurs on earth, and to have a conversation so that you, the listener, could listen to the greatest minds. I went to business school at the University of Colorado. I took some business classes and I was not inspired by what I was taught. That's not a knock on University of Colorado. It was just, it took some entrepreneur coming into the class to tell me their story. And that's what motivated me when I heard the problems, when I heard the solutions. And today we have an incredible entrepreneur, and his name is Sudheer Sajja. He is the CEO and founder of Pringle Robotics and Pringle Technologies. Sudheer, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Shawn.
Sudheer, we spend a lot of time in the restaurant space and the technology space, and I go to a lot of trade shows. And at those trade shows, I see more and more companies trying to get into the robotics space. But one company in particular, Pringle Robotics, seems to be shining above all else, not just for restaurants, but for airports, for travel, for hospitals, and it keeps coming back to Pringle. Can you bring us back to the founding when you were in your basement in Peoria, Illinois? I'm on the Toast Customer Advisory Board. I just interviewed Aman Narang, who's the co-founder, new CEO of Toast, and Toast is our primary technology partner at our restaurants. But I was talking to him about the founding of Toast, which started in his basement. His basement was in Chicago. So I guess basement building is something that technology entrepreneurs have in common. So can you share your Pringle story with us?
Sure. Yeah, actually, robotics was a division of Pringle Tech, and there was a customer, franchisee customer back in California, who was looking for optimizing, essentially addressing the labor shortage that they were having, and so they approached us because we were providing them the complete technology stack for the restaurant side, similar to like Toast, right? So we were having our websites, online ordering, etc., along with call center functionality for them. And so I spent about like a month and a half sitting down with them to understand what's going on. So we really thought maybe where we could add additional help to the waiters and waitresses, was to actually build out a robot that actually would uh, do the food runner uh, job, essentially allowing for food to be sent from the kitchen directly to the tables, and then the waitresses, can actually work with the customers directly, right? Because they were spending almost like 4 to 5 times, running back and forth between the kitchen and the table. They were not, you know, being attentive to the customer sometimes, right? And so
Yes.
you really come into restaurants to kind of have that, good ambience, good customer service in terms of the waitresses, happy faces, always attending to you. And so we wanted to minimize that, time spent, running back and forth. And so that's where we actually thought that would be the place where we could add some value. And so we looked at the latest technology stack that we have, and that's out there in the market. It's not something that we went in and invented everything, but it was more around looked at the latest technology stack and built sort of our first robot, which actually is simply going from point A to point B, detecting objects and just delivering things, right? And so we started that in 2019, and that is almost like a common thing everywhere, right? Even though we started in the restaurant world, and now we're actually moving into facility management, like cleaning robots. So we have a fleet of robots today, which are essentially supporting uh, the function of going from point A to point B, but doing something in that context, right? So it could be sanitization, it could be vacuuming the floors, it could be delivering books from the classrooms of kids to libraries, to the library within the classrooms. It could be in the casinos. We are having essentially the bots, running around with just water around, right? Because
Yeah.
you want to give your customers the water, etc. And so that's how we started off in the hospitality side. Now we're having a fleet of bots, about like 9 of them, and that we have built. And our latest innovation is around a follow me robot, right? So it just keeps following you wherever you want to go. So think of the example, you have these custodians, janitorial staff who are actually lifting heavy weights, right? So,
Yeah.
and they have to push these carts, etc. So now instead of pushing carts, the bot has a dustbin on top of
Wow.
it, and then it just follows you. You just pick up these little micro trash bins and put it into that, and then once you're done, say where to go and drop it off, and then
Hmm.
it would go to that location, and somebody else just opens up and pulls out the trash bag, and then resends it back again, right, to wherever it's supposed to be. So think of it like in trade shows. We have several places trash is collected, right? And so it's amazing is like these applications we're building are kind of solving, making robots be like tools, right? They're essentially the assistants, personal assistants for people in different trades. Starting off with the waiter waitress. Now we're heading into the Jansan, custodial side of things as well.
Hey everyone, Avi Gorin, CEO and co-founder of Marquee, and I want to talk about the customer journey for a second. You never know as a restaurant owner where your guests are truly coming from. End of the day, we do see some patterns around 2 types of search behaviors: direct versus discovery. Direct search, for an example, would be jumping into Google and saying Cali barbecue hours, right? I know where I want to go to eat, but I'm missing a key detail. I need a little bit more information. Discovery, which is the bulk of searches, is barbecue in San Diego, restaurants near me, takeout near me, right? One of the best ways to be found for more discovery searches is leveraging keywords. Reviews are basically free content for you to leverage. Think about keywords that are relevant to your brand, your location, and include as many of those in your review responses as possible, right? How can you go about doing this? Let's set up reports, utilize tools like Google Trends, find out what's going on in your area and how you can help leverage these keywords and review responses, because someone else is doing that, right? If you need some examples, you could do anything from including summer menu, gluten-free menu, leverage specific menu items like the dreaded and beloved spice pumpkin anything in your review responses, right? Let them know what's coming. Let your reviewers know something they should come back and try. And of course, if all of this just seems overwhelming and daunting because you're already running a restaurant and have enough on your plate, just leverage the team at Marquee to do this for you. We handle all of this. We're experts in this space. We can automate this so it's just another item that you know you are taking care of. Again, that's marquee.com, marquii.com. Know you. However, we did recently buy marquii.com. So if you do misspell it, we got you. You'll still find us. We can still help you.
What's incredible for me is the robot journey just in the general public. When I think of where robots were, where they are now, and where they're going. As somebody that has a Roomba in my house that my wife loves, the little cleaning robot that
Right.
vacuums our house, she absolutely loves it. And from a business owner standpoint, you talk about sanitation and you talk about this follow me bot. That is revolutionary. I have 2 young children. I have a 6-year-old boy and a 4-year-old girl, and they go to elementary school. And I was reading about your elementary school, the amount of sanitation, deep cleaning that you can now do for schools, airports, casinos. Can you share a little bit more about those statistics?
Yeah. So our journey of sanitization, again, going back to my during the COVID days, right?
Yes.
COVID days, everybody were, getting scared and not going outside. And also, they were, and what were we doing? We were coming back home, washing hands a lot, and sanitizing the whole. And so what we thought was, we need to get this fear out of people when certain crises come in, right? And so typically you need to go about, completely sanitizing, and more so look at it from, um, you know, uh, addressing the problem instead of running away from it, right? So you don't want to fear it, you want to combat it. And so what happened was, that is when we constructed a productor, which is essentially the bot that uses UV sanitation, UVC light, that is used in like hospitals, for deep cleaning. And also we also used the disinfectant dry mist method, because everybody, as you recall, during COVID time, most of the facility management staff were coming in with backpacks like Ghostbusters, coming in spraying all over the place. So it's a combination of the two that we created our productor, and we deployed it in my kid's school here. That was the first
I
place
love
where we
it.
started.
It's an easy sell when you believe so deeply in the product that you're willing to put it at your child's school.
Right. And so
That's
the only
amazing.
the thing that we had to do was just kind of create a procedure at the tail end of the day, open up the uh, little the cupboards, and then just leave. And at 10 o'clock, the bot gets up, goes into every classroom, does the UVC disinfection and dry mist disinfection. And literally what we were keeping track of the number of kids calling in sick, excluding, people who have gone on vacations and brought back things, right?
Yeah.
So that drastically, that statistic, we started seeing a drop. And so the school was also looking at, how can we do ad hoc? So if somebody got, irrespective whether it's COVID or not, it's just regular flu also. If there was somebody who was sick that day, now they do ad hoc sanitization with the bot, right? Even though it does it at 10 o'clock in the night, but still they do that. So what we're noticing is, uh, the, the the effectivity is very high, and so we took that to even the casinos. There's a local casino here called Paradise Casino, which is part of the Boyd Gaming Corporation, and there too, the bots actually go in the back alleys, where the staff works, right, and it sanitizes. End of the day, they are the ones who are supporting the front of the house, right?
Yeah.
And they need to be healthy. And so from that standpoint, the sanitization, there were a couple months where there was zero call-ins in terms of sickness, in terms
Really?
of people calling in sick. And so that's a great statistic. And now we have taken that into hospitals. So we, even though borrowed the technology from hospitals, or got the idea from hospitals, but we went back into hospitals, and in hospitals we're actually sanitizing most of the common hallways, right? Because most of the people think that the germs, etc., are all in the patient rooms and in the in the surgery rooms, etc. But then when you look at it, it's the you may be healthy, but you go into a hospital environment. It's in the common hallways where you may uh, uh, you know get. I mean, you may have you may come across germs, and so that's something that we're working with hospitals in.
The results are in. National Restaurant Association show. Kyle and Sarah and myself, we were at the Davos sales tax booth, and we were polling restaurant owners on the floor. This was a very unscientific poll, but the results are resounding. Restaurant owners do not like sales tax. Nobody likes sales tax. Doesn't matter what business owner you are, small business, big business. Davo automates the sales tax process. We are so grateful that Davo is the sponsor of this show. They automate sales tax at our Cali barbecue restaurants. It is $50 a month. It integrates with all the major point of sale partners, including Toast. So if you want to sleep at night, if you want to not worry about sales tax, go to Davo, check them out. Davo Sales Tax. Let us know how they're helping automate your sales tax in your restaurant so that we can share your Davo story on digital hospitality. For my life, I learned from my grandfather. He was a curious man. He was born in a village in Bulgaria, and he was born to be a farmer, but he was so relentless in his pursuit of education and learning and reading that he gave me a life of privilege. It's something that I think is, one of my gifts is I'm willing to ask the questions. I'm willing to collect a lot of dots. Danny Meyer, famous, Shake Shack, restaurateur, he talks about ABCD, always be collecting the dots so that you can always be connecting the dots.
Exactly.
So many people don't collect enough dots, but the more questions that you ask, you can find more opportunities. And for someone like you that have built so many different technologies, tech companies, you've put yourself into a position where you're seeing so many different problems, common problems across airports, casinos, restaurants, hospitals. Now you're starting to really connect those dots. Do you remember as a boy, where did that come from?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's again going back to the same thing, asking questions, observing, listening is the biggest thing, right? And sometimes you may go in with an opinion, but how things are done is different. And so
Yeah.
and so my dad used to give me, I mean, at least when I was growing up, there were several opportunities where you get to connect to all levels. Just take a restaurant, for example, right? You don't always only go talk to the owner or manager.
Yes.
You have to go down all the way to the people who are working out there, right? And try to really understand what's going on. And so you should be able to connect at all levels to kind of gather the information, come up with a solution that actually will help them, right? Because one good example I'll give is we were in Vegas, and when we deployed the first part, one of the first part, which was doing just the water runs, right? The waitress was like, "Oh, it's going to take away my job." We said, "No, hold. Just think through this, right? You are actually distributing water and also alcohol to customers, right? But majority of the time, you're spending on the water distribution instead of actually where the money is around the alcohol part of it. And so it'll help you, and also it'll help the business. Only if the business is healthy, that's when it's an economy and everything has to go around, right? And so what we said was, okay, we'll just do only the water, so that way you can spend more time with the customers who are wanting alcohol. And what we saw was about like 40% increase in tips at night, right? And so these statistics actually, again, it goes back to trying to understand what they're doing and showing them, what's possible, right?
Yes.
And my belief and also our philosophy in Pringle Robotics is we're building bots to assist, not to replace, right? And the thing here is it's allowing you to be more productive and safer. That's our going in position with robotics. And so that is how, and also it was not like all of a sudden we thought we wanted to jump into robotics. It was a customer who came with a problem to us. We solved that, and then we started going to other customers and saying, hey, when it's solvable here, it can be solvable here as well. And so when you have the foundation good and you're able to build on top of it, then I think you can not only be highly focused in one industry, but you can actually go across multiple industries and show the commonalities. You may be thinking of an example would be is like a simple thing like a product catalog, right? In textile, in retail industry is product catalog, but in a restaurant world, it is the menu card, right? In general, you got to look at it as generic as possible so that you can go back and address the industry in the context that you need to address. Right? So
When you chose the name Pringle Robotics, and I, am fortunate to have seen these robots in real life at these trade shows, you guys do such a great job with caring about the brand and caring about the display, what the robot looks like. These are very good looking robots. Can you talk about the conscious decision that you make when you're designing these bots to go out into the real world?
Yeah, so we uh yeah we want them to be um I like the term Apple-like, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So the thing is, we want them to be really friendly, have some sort of like even some of the display screens that we have. I mean, first of all, from the looks of it, we want them to be friendly. We don't want them to mimic like a human
Yeah.
person or a humanoid person, because those in general, that they just feel different. And so, our design engineers are all about, how can we look at it like a tool,
Yep.
but as well, just like look at it as a tool, but also, it can uh, connect with you, right? In terms of because we enable collaboration with it, you can talk to it, you can get responses back. But we want it to be thought of like a robot itself, nothing more than a robot, right? It cannot be looking like a human person. So that's our going in position. And then we kind of the design aspect of it is to kind of be playful a little bit, right, with kids.
Yeah.
And certain things, like for example, we were at a very major hospital where we were deploying one of um, our vacuuming robot, which is CC1, and as we were mapping it and deploying it out there, it was amazing to see kids who are actually learning about robotics.
Yes.
And also they come over and they're very inquisitive, how is this, what is this, and asking all sorts of questions. I mean, that when you see something and you're driving that creativity in them to ask the questions and try to understand what it's doing is amazing, right? So it's that draw of you know clean looking playfulness is what we're looking for.
What's amazing about that story is that I have a friend here in San Diego. He has a restaurant called Mama Ramona's Restaurant. And I went up to go visit him with my wife and my daughter and my son. And we went up there, and he has a
Hmm.
pizza serving robot. So his pizza serving robot came out, and my daughter and my son were so excited to
Hmm.
interact with the robot. It was called Rosie the Robot. And they were just
Hmm.
so excited about the robot. And then they asked for the robot to come back, even though it wasn't bringing any pizza. Like, can we bring drinks? Brought drinks back to the table. And then we went back home, and it was about a half-hour drive away from our house. And the next day I'm driving my daughter, my 4-year-old girl, to school, and she goes, Daddy, when are we going to go to the robot restaurant? And like, she wouldn't stop talking about the robot restaurant. But to your point, and I think, from we're still just really early. We're really early with people understanding the power from a business perspective of having robots do the job, the assist job for the things that you're talking about for the janitorial services. For you, how do you think, do you have any stories of how people have found out about Pringle Robotics?
Yeah, I mean, so in the so we're seeing two, like in the hospitality side, um, there are like certain casinos, right? I mean,
Yeah.
they look at it from casinos, it's all entertainment, quite a bit, right? So from that standpoint, because they kind of spend money on like static advertisements, static
Yes.
things, but these are walking and talking things, right? And so they can go around, look, you know, identify people who may be sort of like wanting to go somewhere, not knowing how to get there, etc. So that wayfinding, so these are all, uh, that's how we see is like people wanting to introduce robots in that fashion, right? So literally, assisting in wayfinding. When we look at schools, the Chansan industry, I mean, the next generation of custodial staff, I mean, if you look at it, they were all career custodians, right?
Yes.
But in the next generation, you're not going to have these custodians anymore, right? I mean, there'll be people who want to, I mean, they want things to be done automatically, right? And so one example is like there's a school in Iowa, which it's a very small town. It has all the high school, middle school, elementary school, all in one big space and one connected area. And the custodial staff, he was not even visible in that environment, right? Meaning kids, everybody leaves stuff. He's coming in the evenings and just cleaning stuff and going away, right? But once we deployed the bot, now the kids out there are like, wow, he's got a bot. And so we need to
Yes.
go find out more about it. And so they come over, the teachers come over. Now they're talking to him. Now he's like, he's having a seat at the table, sort of, right? Meaning equally treated equally. And everybody's, asking him about, how to configure it. So now he knows how to configure it. He's because if you look at it, the kids are all acquiring skills and they need to get to a point where they need to apply those skills. And those applied skills are all in the form of, helping a custodian, helping a waiter, helping, staff, the facility management staff move stuff from point A to point B, right? So it's going back to thinking how the robot can be used to make them do their job easier, right?
Yeah.
And so I think it positions well for the future, for assisting, that those gaps that will come in, right? Because we're not going to see career custodians. They may be because that's not a fun job to do. But you can make it fun with a robot, probably.
100%.
Yeah.
So we opened up our restaurant in 2008, and I thought that if we did a great job making phenomenal barbecue, giving great hospitality, taking care of our community, that eventually, if you build it, they will come. I thought that all these people locally, our local media, newspapers and magazines and radio stations and TV stations, they'd come and feature our restaurant. Unfortunately, nobody came. But fortunately, because nobody came, we had to figure out that we had to tell our own story. And given where we are now in 2024 with all of the different tools, whether it's YouTube or whether it's podcasts or whether it's TikTok or Instagram, there's so many different ways to share the cool things that entrepreneurs are building. I found this on YouTube, and you need to correct me if I'm wrong. Do you have a YouTube channel that you started? You have one video?
I am not sure. I would have, yes, long
Pater
time.
Lapadu. You posted a video about Papa Lapadu. Is that about an Indian ceremony?
Lapadu. What is that? Can you spell that for me?
Paterlapadu.
Oh, Pater Lapadu. Oh, actually, that is an uncle of mine.
That's an uncle of yours. That's not your video?
No, it is my video, but I was helping him publish his video.
Beautiful.
So
tell me about it.
Yeah, so I mean, I think so. He is from the town called Pater Lapadu. That's how it's pronounced, and they have. I think it's a festival in the village, that they kind of, have all sorts of dances. It's almost like a New Year celebration in New Year like celebration, and so they gave me that video and asked me to assist in editing. And right, I mean, when you're a techie in the house, it's almost like
you know everything.
If you
build a point of sale company and a robotics company, you can definitely edit a YouTube video.
Right, and so they gave me stuff to do, and so I just did it for them. Yeah.
Well, number one, thank you for doing it. The reason why I bring it up is just in the power of video and the power of storytelling. I travel with my wife. My wife is from Bulgaria, and we go to Bulgaria to her village every summer. And I share videos of my kids at the garden. And by doing that, so many people that I know and that I love have learned about Bulgaria. And by you posting that video, I learned a little bit about Indian culture that I didn't know. That's the world that we live in. And I guess my next question to you is, what's the plan for sharing more of the robots? How do you share more of these really cool things that you're doing in the hospitals, in the casinos, so that other business owners, other people can start to see, wow, this is something that could really be beneficial for our business, for sanitizing, for helping. I mean, just on an insurance standpoint, workers' comp claims, all of those things, we learn it's showing versus telling.
Right. So here in Peoria, actually, we have a 47-acre campus that we're building, right?
Amazing.
And as part of that, there's a sort of like it's a tech park that we're trying to build with our with companies like us and other companies that are thinking about AI, machine learning, etc., tech stuff, right? And but also we are kind of planning for a area that we would open it up for not-for-profits to come in, learn
Very
about
cool.
what that technology is, and what we're looking at it is we want to focus more on collaboration, not on competition, right? Collaboration is very, very key, where we get collaboration from kids, from engineers out there, the entrepreneurs, the business owners, to come in and actually build. Maybe there are so many ideas everybody's got, right?
Yeah.
And in fact, I had been every time a kid comes over, or several folks visit our campus, they say, can we do this, can we do that, etc. And so that list of ideas is growing. And our, our goal is maybe pick one among them and create a product that everybody can actually be proud of. And so in my view, that's the social aspect of it. So from an awareness standpoint, people can come and learn and actually build the bot of the future, right? There could be many applications of bots. And then, but from a business standpoint, what we're looking for is more around, we are having series of, training sessions, inviting people who are interested. So we do like virtual demos, kind of, so that way, people understand what the possibilities out there, right? It's not only just helping you what we have created so far, but also what you could do with it. And if there are any custom applications, we can build that also for you, right? So that's how we're approaching in terms of promoting robotics and educating the industry, because you have to. This is a we just started, and so we got to educate and then take them to the adoption. And the best part of it is America, the universities that we have are actually doing all the research, but the the actual implementation of it or adoption of it is very slow, though, right? We are the universities are doing a good job of having these programs, and people are writing white papers and things like that. But you cannot stop with white papers. You got to put white papers to work, right? So that's why I keep saying is, if you follow the sun, right? I mean, the research is done in the U.S., but then the implementation and adoption is following the sun, meaning Asia comes in ahead of America, right? So I think the amount of work that is being put into research and development here in the US, we got to actually look at implementing it and deploying it, right?
when you look back at this interview, where this is, the beginning of 2024, what in 2025, in 1 year, where do you see Pringle Robotics?
Uh, we are actually we have several product lines in the pipeline, along with several software solutions as well, and we're building a dealer network. For uh, what I see in 2025 would be is the market would be much more mature, in
Yeah.
adoption. And then the second thing is, in terms of our we would be having a lot more bots in the market, right? It's not only just us, it could be competition. There could be other companies that would come in. But I think with the understanding of how they could assist, it'll probably be, I see a huge disruption in the Janssen industry. That's going
Yeah,
to
I
happen.
agree.
Because in the Janssen industry, we are sort of like making, I mean, it's untouched, and
Yeah.
there's a need for robots to assist the Janssen industry.
That's phenomenal. So, Sudheer, I really appreciate it. We will put links into the show notes. It's pringlerobotics.ai is the website. You can also find them on Instagram. How many other socials are you on? We're gonna help. We're gonna help get you. We're gonna get you some YouTube content. We'll figure it out. We'll have a conversation.
Yeah, we're on
because
LinkedIn, and I think LinkedIn is where we spend most of our
spend
time.
most
Yeah.
of the time. Okay. Well,
Right.
we'll figure out how to get some more robot storytelling on the internet. We appreciate you guys for listening to the show. You can always reach out to me. It's at Shawn P. Walchef, SHAWN PWALCHEF. I'm weirdly available. We want to hear your story, and we are also on LinkedIn. So if you want to join our weekly Clubhouse calls on LinkedIn, just send me a DM on LinkedIn, and I will get you on stage, and we want to hear your story. So thank you, Sudheer. Pringle Robotics, please visit them if you go to any of the trade shows that they are at. And Peoria, Illinois, I'm gonna have to make a trip. I can't wait to go see what you're building out there.
Yeah, look forward, Shawn. Please, whenever. Yeah.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Sudheer.